Hello, Green Wave Nation. Welcome back for another week of the Coach Larry Mofield Show. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors over at Meade County Farm Bureau. Be sure to go check out Greg and John Bevan, Gina Turner. They've got an office down here in Brandenburg and another one up in Flaherty for all your insurance needs. So this week we're going to have a 2-for-1 show. We've got two great seniors with us, and we're going to start off with Mr. Eric Carmen.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Eric. How you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Well, I guess start off, let Green Wave Nation know, how did you get started in football? When did you get started, and what's that look for like coming all the way forward to your senior year?
I think it was third grade. I didn't really like flag football much, so we went to Radcliffe to play tackle because you couldn't play tackle until you were in fourth grade in Brandenburg. And it was on the Patriots. We went 12-0, got a ring.
Oh, nice.
And then the next year, played in Brandenburg for the Seahawks. I played there every year, fourth through sixth. Won 2 rings with them. So, I mean, I was pretty much awesome when I was a little kid. I was running back. They were hard to tackle me. I was pretty big.
You just run back?
Yeah. But played all through middle school. I've never missed a year since third grade.
Really?
So, man, football's been my life for 10, 11 years.
Nice, nice. So you've seen it from the ground floor up.
Yes, sir.
So kind of talk about, now in your senior year, what's your role on the team this year?
Well, I think my biggest role is to, we're a young team. I'm a mentor, I feel like, to all the younger kids because, we're made up of sophomores and juniors. We only have, 9 seniors, something like that. They kind of have a lot more people than us for that. But I just keep a positive attitude, lead by example to all the younger kids on the football team.
That's awesome, especially when you've got that experience that goes so far, especially for the younger ones as they come up. What positions you play?
Right now, right tackle and DN and nose guard.
So which side of the ball is your favorite?
I like defense a lot. I like defense. Yeah.
It's kind of like I was saying last week with Malay. It's a lot funner to give it out than take it.
Yep, 100%.
So when you're off the football field, you got some free time. Like, what's your hobbies, or what do you find joy in life doing outside of football?
Usually I just come home and sleep after practice, but like on a weekend I'd probably hang out with my little sister. She wants to be a football player. I told her it probably won't work out. we'll see. She's pretty tough. But other than that, normal teenager. Watch TV, play video games, do my chores, all that good stuff.
What's your favorite video game?
Probably NBA 2K.
NBA 2K? You like basketball?
Yeah. I was never any good at basketball. I stick to football with it. I like the video game.
That's kind of the way I was. I love basketball, but I just wasn't made. I remember Coach Whalen told me in 8th grade on the basketball floor, we was in practice one day, and he said, "Hobbs, when you get to high school, do me one favor, stick with football." So I can appreciate that. So if we jump in the vehicle, what are we turning on the radio?
That's a good question. I like 90s, like alternative rock, like Nirvana and all that.
Nice. Yeah. You like back in my generation.
You can thank my daddy for that. Big influence on my music taste for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't make music like that anymore.
No, they don't.
That was my heyday. So if we're hungry and you're ready to eat and you get to pick, what are we going to eat?
I like catfish, fried catfish.
Catfish?
Yeah. It's some tater babies. You ever had tater
babies?
Yeah. Real good.
Hot sauce or no hot sauce?
No, hot sauce.
Oh, you gotta have hot sauce, right?
What's your favorite? I like Frank's.
The Frank's. Yeah. That's all I keep at the house. Yeah.
I love Frank's.
I don't like that real super hot stuff.
I don't either. Frank's is so good though.
It is. A little tartar sauce.
I put it on everything. I can't do tartar sauce.
Oh, you don't do tartar sauce?
I like Frank's. I put that on everything.
Yeah. So, going through this whole program and stuff and seeing it from a little guy's third grader and looking up to it and now being one of the senior statesmen on the team, what's it meant to be a part of this program?
I don't know, it's amazing. It's what it is. When I was little, we used to come watch football games, stand when it was still grass, and they had that grass hill. We'd all play football, and I would watch them. I just think everybody was Superman, looking up to all the 2013 team. I watched them play all the time, and I just thought every one of them was just superheroes out there. And now when we're playing, I look over and see all the little kids. I bet you they think the same thing that I was thinking.
Oh yeah, because I think any of us that have been through the program, we've been on that throwing football on the sideline on game night all the way up, and it's an awesome experience. So going through it all the way, what would you tell a youngster that's trying to decide whether he wants to play football or do something else? What would your advice be as far as football?
I tell them, even though sometimes you're like, dang, I don't know that anymore, you got to stick with it. Because, I mean, my freshman year, I almost quit. We weren't very good. I wasn't very good, but I just stuck with it. Okay, people kept telling me, stick with it. You know, you can only play football for so many years, and you can never do it again. You know, most people will never do it again, so I just stuck with it. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
Well, and I think you hit on a key point there, because as freshmen, it's kind of intimidating because you went from being the 8th grader and the big dog at the middle school, and then you come over here, and you want to have that instant success, but you know, in this sport especially, you got to put in that work, and it's a lot of hard work.
It is.
So, season's almost over. It's hard to believe we just got started, and you know, it's like I've told the other seniors, the year's going to keep going faster for you all. When that day comes and it's all over, what's next in Eric Carmen's life? What do you see yourself doing, or what are you leaning towards for life after high school?
I plan to be a pipe fitter along with my dad, 4th generation pipe fitter. My grandma, my dad. Oh wait, no, my grandma, my great grandfather, my grandma, my dad, and me.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess they can attest to there's great job security in that field. So even grandma did it, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tough as nails.
That's awesome. Well, Eric, we wish you all the best of luck this weekend or Friday, and we sure appreciate you and everything else you do in life, and we sure appreciate you stopping by today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like I said, we've got 2 for 1 this week. We've got the pleasure of having 2 seniors sit down with us, and next up is Mr. Bryce Clark. Welcome to the show, Bryce.
Thank you for
Nice to
having me.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So we'll kind of go like we've been going, kind of talk about how and when you got started in football and how that's worked up to this year.
I didn't start playing football until I was in 8th grade because I went to Brett County and then I moved up here during the summer, and then I started playing baseball and football up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So now, as a senior, what's your role, what's your position on the team this year?
Being a leader, talking to all the kids, teaching them how to do stuff.
And what position you play?
DN, nose guard, and then tackle with Eric.
Oh, okay. So I'll ask you the same thing. Which side of the ball you like better?
Defense.
It's better to give than receive, right?
Yeah.
I could totally appreciate that. So when you're not on the football field and you got some free time, like what are your hobbies? What do you do to kind of relax and have fun?
Working, fishing, hunting, anything.
What kind of work you do?
I split wood.
No, that's work.
Yeah.
That works towards football too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you big deer hunter?
Yeah.
So you're getting geared up, or are you already at?
I went last Sunday.
Oh, so you've already been out.
Yeah.
See anything good out there?
Seen 2, that was about it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Now, are you the only one in the family that hunts, or?
No, my dad does too.
So who's going to get the bigger deer this year?
Probably him.
He's going to get it?
Yeah.
So if we jump in the car, what are you turning on the radio?
Kind of a mix of rap and country.
A little bit of both?
Yeah.
Who's one of your favorite or couple favorite artists?
Zach Bryan, Jason Aldean, pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I am. If it's good music, I like it.
Yeah.
I've got some of my favorites, but if we're hungry, where are we stopping to eat?
McGill's.
Miguel's? You like that Mexican food?
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? What's your favorite dish?
It's like Happy Chicken, but it's called Happy Steak. But I get it with fries.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never had that.
I get it about every time I go.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out next time I'm there.
It's pretty good.
So we'll throw you a different one. What what if you're picking out a movie? What's your favorite movie?
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a football guy and not like that movie.
Yeah.
So, what to you? You know, and you said you came from Breck County and then you moved up here, and coming up here and becoming a part of the middle school football team program for the Green Waves, and then now all through high school with the Green Waves. What's it meant to you to be a part of that?
It's amazing. It's you really can't explain it. You gotta like picture it, but it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's one of them things you'll never forget, for sure. So if you gave advice, now that you've seen it all the way through, what kind of advice would you give a youngster debating on playing or not?
Definitely try it, but it's not for everybody. But you just gotta push yourself.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is you've got to put that work in. You know, you just don't walk out on the field and succeed. You know, I think this sport more than any sport, you know, it's this weight room. It's putting in the off-season work. You know, it's not just putting on a pair of basketball shoes and going out there and start throwing up hoops. There's a lot of other things with it.
Yeah.
So, as the senior year draws to a close, or the senior season draws to a close, and then it'll be just around the corner. Your whole senior year will be over, and you'll be down there walking Hamilton Field as a graduate.
Yeah.
What do you see next in Bryce's life?
I want to go try to get on a new corps or do something, or like I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm just gonna go probably do trade school or do that.
Are you?
Yeah, just push for something in that go.
Because what are you doing right now for your career path?
Machining.
Machining.
Yeah.
So you're already working towards that way.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, Bryce, we appreciate you coming to the show. We wish you all the best of luck Friday and for the rest of your year and everywhere y'all go after that. So it's nice to meet you, and you take care.
Thank you. You too.
We will be right back with Coach Mofield and do the Coach Mofield Show. Hello, Green Wave Nation. We're back with Coach Larry Mofield now for the Coach's Show. Coach, I really haven't hit on this year. You know, we've talked about it indirectly, but you know, we were kind of talking about this before we started recording. You know, now that we've seen, what is this, 7, 8 seniors?
Yeah, we've had. I think we've done 8 to this point now.
So 8 seniors. You know, I think it's great that people are getting to see behind the scenes on these guys because,
Right.
You know, we focus so much about the success or lack of on the football field, and we've talked about what great success they've had out there, but these are some really great kids.
Yeah.
You know, young men that y'all are developing here.
Well, Chad, that kind of brings, and we kind of hit on this a little earlier in a previous show, that regardless of how we perform on a Friday night or on a Monday or Thursday, whenever, you know, the underclassmen play, these young men, it's really about them. You know, it's frustrating if you don't win, obviously, but, you know, that doesn't diminish what they do, their preparation for the game. I mean, nobody wants to lose, and I can tell you that the kids, for one, don't want to lose. So we've got an outstanding bunch of seniors, and I said this earlier in a previous show. I thought last year's senior bunch kind of set the standard, you know, for returning Meade County football, hopefully just some success down the road. And this year's group has kind of carried that torch too, and but yeah, they're a great bunch of young men. They play hard. There aren't many of them. That class, I can't remember how many we had in that class. We probably had 20 to 25, and we're down to probably 11 or 12. And but that happens. It's I think kids decide to do other things, and you know, sometimes those things that they want right now, the things that they're probably going to have the rest of their life, they can't postpone that gratification, and they want, you know, they want cars, they want jobs, they want girls and stuff, and those are all things that these guys are going to have the rest of their lives. But these young men have decided to stick with the program, and they've been big time contributors. Not only are they good contributors on the football field, they're outstanding young men off the field too.
Yeah, and it's it's great to see that because, we hear so much about kids today and stuff on the news, and, it's always amazing to sit down and see how mature they are, not
Right.
just in learning the game, but as young men too.
Right.
And, we won't go back a whole lot on this, and one of the things I'll always give you credit for is, when it comes to injuries and stuff, your default is always, regardless, we're not going to make excuses, and you don't make excuses. But sitting out in the parking lot before the game at St. X last week, I was talking to some parents, and, with some of the parents, the kids were going to be out and going to be injured, and we were talking about it. We knew St. X was going to, you don't just go into St. X and think that's going to be a cupcake
Right.
to begin with. But then on top of it too, you kind of had two things working against you. You had St. X coming off a last second 1-point defeat to DuPont,
Right.
Manual, the week before. So you knew they were going to come out
Right.
fired up, and they're
Right.
at their house.
Right.
Two, we're 5-2 and almost knocked off, was a 2-point conversion away
Right.
from knocking off PRP. So I
Right.
think they had their ears up a little bit more
Yeah.
coming in against us than, they necessarily would have against somebody else. But then, it's not making excuses, but the facts are the facts. And when you've got a smaller line, they're bringing out 70, 80 kids. When you got a smaller numbers matter in a game like this. And,
Right.
we had some key injuries in places that there just wasn't a whole lot of depth at the beginning.
Right, yeah, and Chad, we had very a thin margin for error. I think what we probably as a staff was disappointed in, we knew the things that we had that were going against us a little bit going into the game. We knew that, but I think the disappointing part for us is, and I don't know if it have made a difference in the outcome of the game, but we did some things that were uncharacteristic of what we'd done in previous games. We didn't handle the ball real well at times. We didn't do some of the fundamental things. St. X is good, and you can't make them any better by not stepping with the correct foot, jumping off sides, mishandling the ball, not doing some of the things that I feel like we're taught better than that. And I think our kids know what to do. I think in that environment, we didn't execute like we should. Now, regardless of, I don't know what the score of the game would have been, but I told our kids at halftime, I said, let's go back out here and play like we're capable of playing. I said, I don't know what we can do on the scoreboard. I said, it's a little lopsided at this point, but I said, what we can do is control what we do. We can step the correct foot. We can get ourselves back on our pass protection. And, poor Bennett was running for his life, the whole game. And I thought, we had some individual players that played pretty well in the game. Now, you say that in a 43-0 game, but I thought Bennett played pretty well considering he was running for his life. And there's 2 or 3 times where I told him, I said, please slide. I said, I don't think I know the kind of kid Bennett is. There's a time when you might need to get a 4th and 1 or something. I said, just slide. I want you to play the next play. But he was lowering his shoulder and trying to truck defensive backs and linebackers. And I thought it on defense at times. We didn't give our defense much of an opportunity because we didn't move the ball well at times. But defensively, there were times we did some good things. We gave up some long runs. They got in some formations that gave us a little trouble, and they wore us down some. But, the biggest thing, I think, if we can come out of that game and look at where we need to improve. I mean, obviously, pass protection was an issue for us. We got to work on that. The fronts we'll play the remainder of the year will be similar to St. X. St. X has an outstanding front 7. We knew that going into the game. Number 97, number 90, 57, number 99. They were very solid up there. The 2 inside linebackers were good. We were able to catch some passes, I thought, but that's how we're going to have to move the ball. You have to run it enough to keep them honest. We didn't run it a lot. Now, I think the stat sheet may show 9 or 10 runs, but a few of those were quarterback scrambles. So we didn't run the ball very much at all. We threw it predominantly, and that's going to have to be how we move the game with some short passing games. That'll take the place of our sweeps and other things.
Gotcha. Well, You know what? It's behind us, so we'll leave it there. There's no use harping on it. We live to fight another day,
Right.
and we've got no shortage of challenge this week because it's a big week because it's homecoming week,
Right.
and we get to come back home. But we're taking on the third district foe in a row, and it's not a district foe that it's going to be any letdown at all. In fact, they're the team we were talking about a while ago that
Right.
just beat St. X a week
Right.
ago with the last second touchdown. So what are you all kind of seeing with this Manual matchup for this
Well,
week?
Obviously, Manual's very talented. They're one of the best teams in the state. They're probably a top 5 or for sure top 10 team in any category. But in 6A, they're for sure a top 5 team. They may be a top 5 team in all of the entire state. That's including all classes. But they've got good size. But everybody we play is going to have good size typically. But our kids, our defensive line continues to fight, and even kind of going back to St. X game, our defensive line coming off the ball. We weren't getting mauled 15 or 20 yards downfield. We didn't fill some gaps sometimes, and that's where we gave up some rushing yards. So Manuals is big up front. We'll have to continue to come off the ball and try to cross face. Our linebackers will have to make plays. They like to throw. Now they're capable of running. They got about 3 or 4 running backs. They're similar to PRP in that they can run about 3 or 4 running backs out there that can really run and are good athletes. They do throw the ball pretty well. Their quarterback's a nice player. They have 4 or 5 kids that can catch it. So we'll have to do a good job on defense, but also we've got to be able to move the football some. I think we cannot leave our defense out there exposed. We got to do a better job in the special teams. Last week was a struggle. The people that went there, we made some mistakes in the special teams that we've got to clean those up, and I think we will. But that didn't help us. So if we can clean that up and do a better job in that, and, it gives us an opportunity. It is homecoming, like you said. This has been a pretty good week. We started out with a bonfire on Sunday night, and then we'll have another pep rally on Thursday night, and then we've got a couple of pep rallies at school. Homecoming is big in the sense that it's really a focus on not only football game has to be kind of a culmination of what you've done all week, and hopefully you can have some success there. But there's a lot of other sports that have been recognized, things that going on during the fall, and we were able to recognize some of those Sunday night out at Buck Grove when we had the bonfire out there. They did it on Monday, and they'll continue to do it on Friday. So it's a big week, and with our schedule that we play, Chad, a lot of times you try to look on your schedule and you try to schedule a homecoming opponent that's probably not as formal as Manual. We didn't have that opportunity. So, and really, going into the season, there was probably nobody on our schedule that could say, "Hey, this is who we want."
Yeah.
We don't have the benefit of that, and that's just the reality. Kind of like you said a while ago, facts are facts sometimes.
Yeah.
We've got a nice district. I tell everybody that arguably maybe the toughest district in the state of Kentucky, and I feel like we got a pretty good football team this year. And it just so happens we're in a good district, but that's we're not going to make excuses about that. We're going to, it's the hand that's given to you sometimes, and it's a good life lesson for us. It's easy to get frustrated as a player, as a coach, as a parent, or as a friend of football, but those are blows that life's going to deal us much worse blows than having to deal with those 3 teams we got to deal with in our district. Nobody was really excited about signing up to play those teams, but that's how it landed, and we had 2 choices. We could run into it or we can run from it. We decided to run into it. So, but anyway, we'll see. Obviously, Manual's good, but we got a pretty good football team too. I think our kids play hard. I mean, I don't think our kids did not play hard against St. X. I think we played hard. I think we've got to be careful in the moments when things aren't going our way. We got to make sure we don't go the wrong way. And that's another thing we told our kids at halftime. We said, we can be frustrated, but I said there's a way to handle that, and the way to handle it is come together, not pull apart. and I think our kids are made like that, and that was one of the disappointing things and I thought we did a better job of that in the second half, than we did in the first half.
Well, you were talking about a homecoming. Now, one of those pep rallies is on Friday here at the school, and it's open for everybody.
Thursday night. It's
Oh, is
Thursday
it
night.
Thursday night?
It's the community pep rally on Thursday night. It'll be at 6:30. It's going to be here at the high school, and we'd love to see a bunch of people show up. I think there's a small chance of rain, but I think the rain may be mostly in the morning. So, yeah, it'd be great for people to show up, and it goes back to what you and I've said a lot on this show. This is about the kids. Support the kids. By supporting the kids, you support the program. And I think if people will show up and support their kids, because I think everybody, really wants to, if you're supporting the kids kids buy into it, and hopefully they'll go out there and perform. But yeah, it'd be great for a bunch of people to show up.
So where exactly is that going to be?
It's going to be at the down on the football field.
It'll be on the
It's
football
going to be on
field
the football
at
field
6:30.
at 6:30. So yeah, it will be great. I think we're going to have hopefully. Our players will be there, and typically what I do on those is I recognize our senior. We recognize the entire football team, but I want each senior kind of have their moment, because it'll be their last time. It'll be their last football homecoming. So we want to make sure we recognize them. And I usually let them have the mic, introduce themselves, and they can tell the positions that they play, and then I'm sure our cheerleaders will be there. I'd say our dance team will be there. Hopefully the band will be there. And it's important to have school spirit. And I think, over the years, and I'll say as I'm as guilty as anybody else may, because sometimes as a coach, you want the focus to be on the game, and you're afraid that your kids might get too caught up in that. But I think we've kind of swung so far one way that we've forgotten some of these things, and I think it's good to see that maybe we're getting some of them back. I tell the kids this, and I told the kids this Sunday night. I spoke for a few minutes at Buck Grove, and I told the kids, I said, we're here to get an education. I think everybody knows that, but there aren't too many times a kid's going to say 30 years from now that they're going to remember what they did in their English class.
Yeah.
Although it's important, I know that's what we're here for, but they're going to remember a football game. They're going to remember the homecoming. And these extracurricular things that we do, whether it's bass fishing, it's bowling, it's football, it's cheerleading, it's band, it's FFA, takes a trip, all this is important. And to get kids involved in it, and then to have something like homecoming and to do these pep rallies, it's important, and I don't think it takes away from the education. Sometimes I think or most of the time, I think it might spur some kids on. I thought Monday our kids came out and, we don't make it mandatory for those kids to go, and because some kids will come in there and they'll just stand and they won't do. Well, we had, I'd say, most of our student body was there. There were some kids that didn't want to go, and they have an alternative place for them. But I'd say 99% of our kids were there, and they showed some good spirit. They were a couple of games played, and so anyway, I think those things are important, and it'd be nice to have a bunch of people show up on Thursday night.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we were just talking about this on the Edgewise show I do for the radio station the other day, and I've seen this stat come up numerous times, and like one of the great predictors of everything equal of a youngster, a young teenager succeeding in life, not getting into trouble as much. It's not perfect.
Right.
But doing well in life, succeeding in life, having a good job and stuff is the amount of extracurricular they have in their life, because it kind of goes back to it takes a village to raise a kid. And, there's things you learn in this weight room and on that football field that are so much bigger than the game.
Right.
They're fundamental to the game, but you've done it.
Right.
I've done it. We use those things for the rest of our life, where we might not, like you said, remember what we did in this and that.
Right.
But not that those aren't important.
Right, you're right. I think, at Meade County High School, there are multiple opportunities for kids to get involved. I would probably put us up there against any high school in the state with having things to do. I mean, it started years ago. I remember when Dr. Richard Hughes was here as a principal, we started adding activities. That's positive for the kids, but also it's tough for the administration because you have to staff those activities. But we have a multitude of things for young people to do, both guys and girls. There's equal opportunities out there, and I just in our classes we encourage kids to get involved. Now, selfishly, I'd like them to play football.
Yeah.
When I see a 6'4" guy, 300 pounds walking down the hall, I want him to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And we do, Chad. We try to recruit them. I know sometimes in the public, I think people, we try to recruit these kids, and short of just letting them come out and play on Friday nights or on Mondays or Thursdays whenever we play freshman or JV games, you have to come to practice. There's a certain level of commitment you have to have, and it's still, even though football has gotten a lot softer since you played, since I played, it's still, I think, the toughest game out there because there are certain elements of it you can't change. You still have to be in condition. You still have to hit a little bit, although we don't hit near as much as we used to because just for protection and making sure you got enough bodies on Friday night. So there's still a certain amount of those things you have to have, and I still think it's the hardest game out there, and I think that's typically why we don't have the number of kids. We recruit kids all the time. I mean, I've seen kids at games this fall and Friday night before we go out there and said, you need to be out here, and I see them, but we'll continue to do that. And there's a fine line. You can't lower your standards too much because if we do that, well, I guess we could have 100 kids out there on Friday night if we said show up on Thursdays and you get one, but you're not going to be very good doing that. You have to have an off-season program. You can't do it without that. I mean, even though we have our kids in weight class, that is not sufficient because it takes a different type of training for a football player than it might for a swimmer or a golfer or basketball. It's different. Sports are different.
Different muscles and everything.
And football is one of those. There's a certain element of toughness in there. And the weight room, I think, in the off-season conditioning program gives you a little bit of that because you work together. You kind of suffer together. And I say that, but it's just you're working together for a common goal of trying to win a football game.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck on Friday.
I appreciate it, Chad.
And Green Wave Nation, be sure to get out here Friday night and cheer these Green Waves on for homecoming as they go into their final district game. And if you've got a chance, come out here Thursday night for the pep rally and show these young men just how much we love and appreciate what they're doing. And once again, thank you to our sponsor over at Farm Bureau Insurance. Go check them out at the Brandenburg office or up in Flaherty for all of your insurance needs.